Yeah, that's great.
Awesome. I'll set it right here.
Hey everyone, I'm Matt. I'm an alcoholic. Got the podium and a suit jacket on. This is a little bit. I'll say this is the best. As far as I've been to a million meetings, but this is the best coffee that I've had at any meeting. I don't know if it's a coffee maker, the Group Conscience, but it's great.
Oh yeah.
I guess I first started drinking alcohol when I was maybe 14, 15. And it wasn't love at first sight for me by any means. I pursued alcohol because I wanted friends and I wanted to fit in. And I remember that my friend who first introduced me to alcohol, I actually knew that, that person was trouble. I only started hanging out with them because they asked for me to tutor him. He was struggling in school. And I think that the same way how I used alcohol for friendship, and I think that basically my friends at the time, or people that I thought friends, were kind of using me as like a canary in the coal mine. It was almost like, they didn't see that I fit in with them, but yet if I was, being destructive, that, maybe they weren't doing things too wrong. I drank pretty just spotty at a young age. I would say that it crept up on me over time. By the time I was in college, I was drinking and blacking out every time, probably 3 times a week. And even then, I didn't think I had a problem because alcohol was not the reason why I was doing everything I was doing. I was drinking to party, to fit in, at this point to find, maybe a significant other. And then also, to just keep friends. And I wanted to live a certain life, and I thought that alcohol allowed me to live that life. Made it easier for me to be the person I wanted to be. When I graduated college and I started into the professional world, taking a desk job, my relationship with alcohol began to change. It was no longer just this kind of thing done at parties or in settings where everyone is drinking heavily. It started to become a mismatch where others around me maybe weren't drinking as much as I was, and yet I still was drinking in excess. And I, at this point, still just thought that it was, muscle memory. Like, I need to practice to drink less. And I just kind of, I just lived my life that way for a long time. I'm 30 years old now. So, for a good 10 years after school, I drank alcoholically and didn't really think about it. I lived my life thinking about the other things, the other events, and alcohol. Either if I achieved those events or fell short of those events, alcohol was the way that I coped with it. And I think when things really got clearer for me was during the pandemic. I know that the pandemic probably created a lot of new suffering for people with isolation. For me, it was a clarifying moment, because when you stripped out the friends, the events, there was still just me and alcohol and my couch. And left to my own devices, I just drank more. And, for the first 6 months of the pandemic, I was like, oh, this is temporary, right? Time to party. And drinking became a daily noon activity. And part of me, I think wanted to get caught or reach a bottom because it was just starting to feel so unsustainable. I mean, Zoom calls, slurring my speech, having, 5-6 drinks before even 5 o'clock, and, just no reason. There was a part of the big book talks about, if you ask the alcoholic why they drink alcoholically, they might give you a reason, but they really don't know. And for me, that rings true because I don't know why I drank to that extent. It wasn't doing anything for me, but yet I was giving up so much for it. For me, the clarifying moment when I knew that, I knew I was, I don't know how many of us Google alcoholic a few times before they get sober, right? Or like, how long do I don't drink for before I'm fixed? And so I had an idea that there was a problem, but I think that I still always thought that I could live a life and just also drink. My others in my family drink a lot. They seem to be okay. And so that was kind of my design was, I drink a lot, but I'm a partier. And towards the end, when I was, waking up, feeling like shit, smoking weed to feel normal, and then ultimately finding my way to the bottle or beer can by noon, that's when it really started to set in that maybe I wasn't going to live a full life. And that I remember creating a compromise with myself as I went to the liquor store. At this point, I'm, hitting different liquor stores in the neighborhood. So the same person working at the same one isn't starting to get a little worried about me. And I remember coming, made the classic contract to myself that I wasn't going to drink anymore. Wasn't going to drink for that day. And then by, I think I made it to 2:30. I was already I got to go get just a 6-pack because I'm going to drink whatever I pick up. So just a 6-pack is only 6 beers. And as I was leaving the liquor store, I remember thinking to myself that if I could just outlive my parents, that would be enough in my life. That I just didn't want to die before them because I didn't want to hurt them in that way. But that short of that, my entire life, all my dreams, all my goals in that moment boiled down to simply just basically not letting my parents know that I'm an alcoholic, and that secret was ultimately became my life's goal. And I'd like to say that was when I stopped. That's when I snapped out of it, but it took months after that, maybe 6 months, when I'm living with my now wife and I, had too much to drink, left the keys in the door, pissed in the corner of the bedroom instead of the bathroom. It's normal, it didn't seem that crazy, but she was quite disturbed the next day. And she said, can you drink less? I don't want you to, you don't need to stop drinking. No one wants to be married to an alcoholic, right? You don't need to stop drinking, just drink less. And I was like, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think I can drink less. And she was like, I think you have a problem with obsession. You should go to a therapist about obsession. And I was like, I can do that, but I think we're going to get to the bottom of it pretty quickly that I have a drinking problem. Again, the pandemic saved me because not only did it isolate me to the point where I was able to really see that the problem was me, but then I was able to Google AA meetings near me and dial into a meeting. I would have never walked, or maybe 5 years later, would I have had enough desperation to actually physically walk myself into a meeting. But because I could find it online, I was able to dial in and, walking around my neighborhood at 9 p.m. crying into a cell phone, but was able to go to a meeting and immediately be just like I remember I described it as, in my second meeting that I went to, I described it as almost being like I was like plucked out of the swirl. I just was so turned around and just a mess. And this group of people for me, it was like they were so nice. I just didn't want to like let them down. Like I was like, how could I return such just like weird kindness with like just dismissal? And so I went back just to not let those people down. And then as I, was in the program long enough to get a sponsor and, dry out a little bit, I'd like to say that it's gotten easier, but it hasn't. Life's different now. And I feel like what I work towards is accruing to something. But it's hard to not just drink when you have a problem, or, like smoke weed to feel happy. And it's like now, things, I can't control things, but like that's actually reality. And it's about me using the 12 steps to like actually become like, to actually cope with reality, to understand like what life actually is. Because I had been using alcohol as a shortcut for coping my entire adult life. And so I guess like what my life is like now is that I can look at myself in the mirror. I feel like the person who I am on the outside matches the person who at least I'm trying to be on the inside. And up until then, I don't think I really like made eye contact with myself in the mirror for years, because I didn't want to look. But through the power of this program and through the fellowship, I now have a life that is so much greater than anything that I had before. And I'm happy to report that my goals have now expanded beyond just outliving my parents. Hopefully passing, the 12th step is now my goal. Thank you.
Yeah.